Hey, what's up? Happy Friday. I know it's not Monday, but hey, it's the weekend. It's been a long week for me. I assume and I trust that most likely it's been a long week for you. Hopefully, you've had a great week, but I want to give you some motivation and encouragement going into the weekend, and that is this. So, for the last several months, I've had this idea in my mind, and I've been trying to think of the perfect way to make the perfect video, and I realized I just was stuck trying to be perfect. And that's not good. So the idea is that, have you ever heard somebody say, they're turning the page in their life, or that, this is the end of one chapter, the beginning of another chapter? Basically, life comes in sections. Life comes in chapters. And it's very easy to get stuck at certain places in life because, sorry, there's a bee that almost flew in my window. That was pretty scary. It's easy to get stuck in life reading the old chapters, and we will never make progress, and we will never turn the page and go to the next chapter as long as we keep reading the old ones. And for a long time, I got stuck reading the old chapters, thinking all about the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I wish I did this. I could have done that. I should have done that. I shouldn't have done this. And I've beaten myself up for mistakes that I've made and bad decisions that I've made, thinking I should have known better. Yeah, maybe I should have, but here's the thing. If I did know better, I would have done better, right? So some part of my brain thought the things that I did was acceptable, and that's not the case today, right? The story of how I got there is long, and that's actually going to be the topic of a book that I'm done writing. I'm doing the edits. That book will come out, and I'll tell you all about it soon. But the point of this video is that getting stuck in the past doesn't have to happen, but it happens for so many of us. And I've got a three-step that's three, right? 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, my California math can count to 3. That's perfect. Public education school in California has not failed me when it comes to counting to 3. But I have a 3-step success formula that is completely guaranteed to work. And it's not because it's my formula, it's because it's formula, it's the spiritual formula from God himself. Now, I'm going to mention a scripture in 1 Thessalonians, and like I said, the Bible is not a book about religion. The Bible is the best guidebook, the best blueprint for life that you could ever hope to read. Any self-help book, any motivational speaker that you could ever listen to, you can trace back what they're saying to the Bible. Whether they know what they're saying is from the Bible or not, it all comes from the Bible. So what are the 3 steps, the secret to success? Well, it's very simple. Faith, love, and hope. So I've said it before. I'll say it again right now for anybody who's never heard me say it, but the opposite of failure is not success. The opposite of failure is faith. Failure is simply no longer progressing towards the destiny that you have. Failure is giving up. Failure is quitting. Failure is not making it. Now, there's temporary setbacks in life. There's temporary failure where we do something, it doesn't work. We have to regroup, rethink, and retry. But as long as you're retrying and planning and learning and moving forward, no matter how small your progress is, as long as you're making progress, you will never be a failure. So failure, the opposite of failure is not success. The opposite of failure is faith. You have to have the faith that success is possible, because according to 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 3, faith leads to action. Faith leads to work. If you don't have faith, you're not going to take the first step because you're not going to think it's worth it. You're not going to think it's possible. You're not going to believe that success is possible. So the opposite of failure is not success. The opposite of failure is faith. That's the first step of this 3-step process. Faith leads to action. Faith leads to work, right? The second step, step 2, 1, 2. The second step is love. Love leads to a selfless labor, right? As Simon Sinek says, start with why. If you have, like Friedrich Nietzsche said, he who has a why can bear almost any how. Think of a little kid. When you ask a little kid to do something, they're always asking why. They're not trying to be annoying. They're not trying to be stubborn. They're not trying to be anything other than curious, and they want to know, why is this important? And I promise you, it doesn't matter what you do or for whom you do it. If you explain the why to people, when you tell them why you are asking them to do something or why you are telling them to do something, they will almost always, without fail, do it better than if you just said, because I said so. So the first step of success is faith. You have to have faith that success is possible. The second step is love, or the knowledge of why. Why is this important to you? And the third step for success, the third secret for success, or the third step in this process, is you have to have hope. And according to 1 Thessalonians, hope leads to endurance. So faith leads to action, or faith leads to work. Hope or love leads to labor, or doing something intentionally. Love, the why, leads to doing it with intention and purpose. And hope leads to endurance. Hope leads to being able to endure the hardships, because you have the hope that progress is being made. You have the hope that success is possible. And it's easy to get stuck where we're at because we have a goal in mind and we know where we are, and we're constantly looking at that goal, and we're getting frustrated because we see the gap between where we are and where we want to get. But to rekindle that hope, many times the best thing we can do is to look at where we are and turn around and look where we've come from. Because when we turn around and we look at where we've come from, there's no denying that, yeah, we're not where we are, we're not where we want to be right now, but there's no way to deny that where we are right now is further along than where we used to be. Where we are right now is better than where we've come from. So turn around and look at the progress you've made once in a while. That will kindle that hope. So the 3-step secret success formula, remember, first of all, the opposite of failure is not success. The opposite of failure is faith. And that's the first step in this success formula. Faith leads to action. Love leads to labor, or knowing why leads to the labor and the doing, right? And the third step is hope. Hope leads to endurance. Look at where you've come from. Realize the progress you've made, and that will give you the hope to keep going when you see that gap between where you are and where you want to go. So that's it. The 3-step secret success formula from 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 3. Faith leads to action, love leads to labor, and hope leads to endurance. Those are the 3 steps. Enjoy your weekend. I love you guys, and I will see you on Monday.